For you know that the testing of your faith produces steadfastness, and that steadfastness have its full effect, that it may be perfect and complete, lacking nothing. So, just having that verse in mind, I want that to be the central verse for my testimony. But coming into this missions trip, I think I was not prepared, just emotionally and mentally, because after the first day of serving, I could honestly say that I just felt very exhausted from the lack of preparation on my part, and it really got me feeling pretty helpless and hopeless because I felt that because I didn't have enough strength and power that I couldn't really serve to my fullest ability. So that was how I was feeling the first day. And as I was praying that night, after the first night, God really convicted me, and He reminded me of how self-centered I was and how my mentality was just so selfish. And He reminded me that I needed the gospel as much as the Native Americans that were there. That, when we go on missions, I think some of us have the mindset that we're going to impart the gospel, and I hope that is what happened during the trip. But what I was really reminded is I need the gospel as much as the Navajo Nation needed to hear it. And so after that first night, I just prayed for the lines of the Lord, and He really did provide, because for the rest of the trip I didn't really feel tired anymore. I centered myself on the gospel more, and that was really a blessing for me on this trip. So the highlight of the trip, I guess I'll say, like most people said, it was really dusty, you guys. There's no pavement. It was honestly just sand everywhere. And people said it was like the beach with no water. But it was really bad because the rooms would just be filled with dust. And all our faces were covered, and it was really bad. But I remember on the second day I was watching kids, and they were playing outside. They were making sand castles in the ground. And I was just staring at them. I was like, you guys are crazy. Because what was a complaint for us, they found joy in. They were sitting there in the midst of there was sandstorms because the wind would pick up the sand. Like there's these kids making castles and playing in the midst of their environment. And that just reflects back to what James is saying, count it all as joy. Everything should be counted as joy. I think you can see what joy really looks like, especially when you observe kids and how they play. So yeah, that was a big blessing for me to see. Finally, what I would like to impart on the church is I hope that we were all called to be more mission-minded, because as I was just there experiencing the kind of worship style that they go through, and every night they would have a revivals when we were there, I just saw how desperately this nation needed the gospel, that the depravity of Navajo Nation was real. And I think that what I hope to pray for, and I hope our church prays for, is that this nation would hear the explicit gospel, and that they would become more gospel-centered in everything that they do. Yeah, so I think I came to that realization because during the revivals, I felt like I would say that the gospel was not at the center, and it made me feel very helpless as a short-term missionary, that we couldn't stay longer and really make an effort to be very explicit about the gospel. So that just reminded me of the limited power and time that we had in the presence of Arizona. But I think what encouraged me, and I hope encourages you, is that the power of prayer really does make an impact. We need to pray. We need to support the missionaries that are there for long term, and maybe even in our futures we can become long-term missionaries as well. So I'd like to close and thank the local church, which is Bethel. Thank you for supporting us, and thank you for just praying for us constantly. Thank you for sending us there to experience something new and something that is real. So ultimately, I'd like to thank the Lord, and I hope that through the missions trip that He increased and we decreased. So thanks, guys.